that were involved in this post, review process, but we will adopt this at this time. Or, hold on a second. Whereas the Town of Bennington Town Board, herein referred to as the Town Board, on June 11, 2024, declared its intent to be designated the lead agency for the Town of Bennington Solar Law Update under the provisions of the State Environmental Quality Review Regulations. And whereas the Town Board has provided written notice to this effect to the involved and interested agencies. And whereas the Town Board has not received any written objections from the involved agencies to the boards being designated as the lead agency under the SEQA regulations. And whereas the Town Board has previously determined that it is the most appropriate agency to ensure the coordination of this action and for making the determination of significance thereon under the SEQA regulations. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Town Board has hereby designated itself as the lead agency for the action identified above herein. And we also adopted this on, actually June 11th, 2025. And at that time, I believe we added an additional municipality to the list, which I believe was the town of Darien that hadn't been originally included. But the other agencies that had copies of the law were the Town of Bennington Planning Board, Wyoming County Planning Board, New York State DEC, New York State Department of Transportation, New York State Department of Aid and Markets, Town of Darien, Genesee County Planning Board, Town of Marilla, Erie County Planner, New York State Office of Renewable Energy Siting, Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board of Wyoming County, Town of Sheldon, Town of Attica, and Town of Alden. So is there any discussion on this resolution by the board? If not, can I get a motion to adopt the resolution number 1?
Motion.
I get a motion by Councilman Doan, seconded by Councilman Mullen. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. The second is the determination of environmental significance and approval of a full EAF. Board members have copies of both Part 1, the project and setting, which is for amending the Town of Bennington Solar Energy Law. And that has all been completed by our town engineer, reviewing that. And then we also have Part 2, identification of potential project impacts, which the engineer has gone through and looked at, finding no significant impacts because this is basically the impact of the local law, not the impact of a project. So once another project comes up, another environmental review will be done applying these laws. So
Think of this as the administrative aspect of just putting the law on the books. Once you guys are processing applications for actual projects, you'll go through SEQA again, and you'll have the opportunity to review those on a case-by-case basis for environmental impacts.
So there's they look at the impact on land, impact on geological features, impact on surface water, on groundwater, on flooding, impacts on air, on plants and animals, agricultural resources, aesthetic resources, historic and archaeological resources, open space and recreation, critical environmental areas, transportation, energy, noise, odor, and light, and human health. So based on having no significant impacts, it's been drawn up to adopt a negative or no significant impact. And on the next to the last page, the bottom paragraph, the Town of Bennington Town Board has reviewed and accepted parts 1 and 2 of the full environmental assessment form for this action. The town board has been established as the lead agency under SEQR for making the required determination of significance. In addition, the general public was made aware of the public review and comment period provided by the town board. No significant adverse impacts were identified as the result of the review process. And please see the attached documentation supporting the EAF Part 3 in support of this decision. And we do have the referral response form from the Wyoming County Planning Board, comments from their meeting, just noting the documentation that was submitted with the zoning law for review. And they said, they commented the proposed law was very well written and easy to understand, so they recommended approval. So resolution number 2, determination of environmental significance and approval of full EAF. Whereas the Town of Bennington Town Board, herein referred to as Town Board, has determined the above referenced action to be a type 1 action pursuant to Part 617 of the State Environmental Quality Review Regulations. And whereas the town board has reviewed and accepted the completed full environmental assessment forms, parts 1, 2, and 3, including the supporting information on the action prepared by the MRB group, herein referred to as town engineer. And whereas the town board has completed the coordinated review and public comment period provided for under the SEQR regulations, and whereas the town board has designated itself as lead agency under the SEQR regulations for making the determination of significance upon said action on a separate resolution at the July 9, 2025 meeting. And whereas the town board has given consideration to the criteria for determining significance as set forth in section 617.7C1 of the SEQR regulations, and the information contained in full environmental assessment forms, parts 1, 2, and 3. Now therefore be it resolved that said action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts based on the review of the full environmental assessment form. And be it finally resolved that the town board does hereby make a determination of non-significance on said action, and the town supervisor is hereby directed to sign the full environmental assessment form, EAF Part 3, the negative declaration, as evidence of the town board determination of environmental non-significance. Any questions or comments? And I do want to note, and as I said before, we had one comment from an agency, the Wyoming County Planning Board. We received, I believe, several comments from individuals. We had the public hearing at our July town board meeting, or
July 9th.
July 9th town board meeting, and accepted comments through that week from the public, if anyone had any additional comments to make. All right, can I get a motion on resolution number 2?
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion, Councilman Berger, seconded by Councilman Domes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 3, adopt local law, I believe this is number 2. Number 2 of 2025, entitled A Local Law Establishing Zoning Guidelines for Solar Energy Systems, and amending Article 2 of the Town of Bennington zoning law, providing for the creation of zoning overlay districts and solar overlay districts. Whereas the town board of the Town of Bennington met at a regular board meeting at the town hall located at 905 Old Allegheny Road, Attica, in the town of Bennington, New York, on the 7th day of August, 2025, commencing at 7:30 p.m., at which time and place the following members were present: Supervisor Grant, Council members Fronick, Moen, Domes, and Berger. Whereas all town board members having due notice of said meeting, and that pursuant to Article 7, Section 104 of the Public Officers Law, Public Readings Law, said meeting was open to the general public, and due and proper notice of the time and place whereof was given as required by law. And whereas the town board of the Town of Bennington has been considering a proposed local law number 2 of 2025, entitled A Local Law Establishing Zoning Guidelines for Solar Energy Systems, and amending Article 2 of the Town of Bennington zoning law, providing for the creation of zoning overlay districts and solar overlay districts, to advance and protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the Town of Bennington, while facilitating the production of renewable energy. And whereas pursuant to and in accordance with Section 617.6, initial review of actions and establishing lead agency of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Regulations, 6 NYCRR Part 617, the town board sought to assess the environmental impact of such local law and declared their intent to act as seeker lead agency on July 10, 2024, and completing Part 1 of the full environmental assessment form, FEAF, and sending such notice in FEAF to any and all involved agencies. And whereas pursuant to Section 239L and 239M of General Municipal Law, said local law and all supporting documentation, including Part 1 of the EAF, was submitted to the Wyoming County Planning Board and Genesee County Planning Board for review and comments by the town engineer, such comments being received on or about June 19, 2025, with the following determination having been made: approval with comments. Whereas upon waiting for the required 30 days, the town board received no objection to its acting as lead agency in this matter, and therefore declared itself lead agency on June 11, 2025. And whereas acting as seeker lead agency, the town board completed Part 2 and Part 3 of the FEAF, and concluding that the local law would have no environmental impacts, and made a negative seeker determination. And whereas a notice of public hearing regarding the local law was duly published in the town's official newspaper, and said public hearing was held on July 9, 2025, at which time all parties in attendance were provided an opportunity to speak or provide written comments in favor or in opposition to the proposed local law. And whereas that the town board of the Town of Bennington feels it's in the best interest of the Town of Bennington to adopt said local law, and now desires to do so. And at this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt the law. Councilman Moen, and which has been duly seconded by
I'll second it.
Councilman Berger. Therefore, be it resolved, the town board of the Town of Bennington feels it is in the best interest of the Town of Bennington to adopt local law number 2 of 2025 entitled, "A Local Law Establishing Zoning Guidelines for Solar Energy Systems," and amending Article 2 of the Town of Bennington zoning law, providing for the creation of zoning overlay districts and solar overlay districts. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to enter the adoption of said local law in the minutes of this meeting, and to provide all necessary paperwork regarding the adoption of said local law to the Secretary of State of New York. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Absent? Motion is carried. There being no further business to come before the board tonight, I'll make a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.
Congratulations, guys, that was quite the road to get here, huh?
Yeah, I know, when I think we adopted the first, like, lead agency resolution last June.
Yes.
And had our first public hearing last June.
So
Twelve.
moratorium's over.
Well, it has to be filed with the Secretary of State, right?
Yeah, and if you look at the last page of the law, it does have a repeal section, which basically says any and all other local laws that are inconsistent with this law are hereby appealed. It expressly references our 2017 solar law, which now comes off our books. When's your regular board meeting this month? Because this is special session.
Or right, yeah, next Wednesday.
What I can do is I'll throw together a quick resolution and a repeal, just to memorialize that.
All right.
It'll probably, Joanne, do we usually do the local law filings, or do you do that?
Well, the last time I came to the office and I worked with Tiffany, and she helped me, I believe you guys filed it for me.
Yeah, so we can do that, and I mean, that usually takes a few days just for us to get everything to the Secretary of State and get on the books, which is when it's officially in effect. So, you know, I think it's implied by that repeal paragraph that the moratorium's off, but we can memorialize that at the meeting next week.
Okay.
What
All
was
right.
our number of revisions?
Well.
12 drafts.
It's version 12, and I think it's like 12C or 12B.
You know, the only thing that I would say is, you guys, you should have gotten on Taylor to consolidate the title of the law. It's a mouthful.
You tell her that.
So, okay, so.
She worked hard on this, and this was a great experience for her too.
This will be emailed to them, and then they can do the well, you have to seal it though, right?
Yep, we need to get the signed and sealed resolution, and that gets submitted to the Department of State.
Actually, I mean, Joanne, if you can stay around for 5-10 minutes, I can print it out. I can print it out and we can send it with
Sure.
email. Or I can take it to Warsaw in the morning.
No, no point.
Okay, all right, so then they send it in, you know, say by Monday at the latest, and then it gets filed in the Secretary of State's office. Another week, 10 days. So then it's good to go. Then you guys, well, your project person can really take a deep dive and look at any of the last tweak. I don't know if he's looked at any of the last versions.
I'm sure he is.
Okay.
Are you expecting somebody to propose a project on your land?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're gonna have, it's a community solar?
Yeah, it's going to be releasing the land to a solar company.
Sure.
We don't get any benefits of the solar
Right.
except money.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you
the
for-
law's on the books. Now let's get processing these applications.
Well, hopefully, hopefully they won't be too many. Maybe. tucked away.
Not that we haven't enjoyed these meetings.
That's some sarcasm.
I know. Very enlightening.
Not for her, no.
It's
I
a
appreciate you giving
process.
up your summer evenings, for sure, the winter
Yeah.
evenings.
It's better than the winter evenings.
Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you, driving back in Highland One, it's 15 miles an hour does not handle the dust. You gotta do like 8 or 10 miles an hour.
Might be a nice, addition to Stedman Road at 15 miles an hour.
Oh, Clinton Street's pretty dusty
Yeah,
too.
Clinton Street.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got another crack in the windshield.
I got
I got two.
I got.
How many phone calls did you get, Joanne?
Oh, I got a lot of phone calls.
So are you, so this, is there a number for Suco to call, or?
Ben Jensen posted it,
Yeah?
yeah. The corporate office and the town office.
And I just tell them it's
State
to
route.
contact the GOT in Warsaw.
So what does Suco do, they just pass it along to?
They're just gonna brush it under the rug. They're gonna say, okay, you gotta call this number, and they're gonna, the state's gonna say, well, you gotta call this number. It's gonna be a roundabout.
How can Anthony get a copy
Yeah, you don't play
of
phone tag.
12C?
They call them garbage.
Actually, if
I
you
don't know
go
why
on
they
our
spray
website,
foil.
Okay.
the front page, the whole page,
I-
it talks about, you know, this
That
is
road's
probably
probably-
You can click right
No.
on it.
I don't know where, somebody had their head up their ass for that one.
I wrote it down.
I don't know how that even got approved,
I didn't know.
especially on a high traffic road like
I've
this.
been doing 77
Yeah.
church.
A lot of
Get it in
motion.
as-
I went all the way, I went, I took county line to get them,
A lot of work.
up to
I did that
Up
one
to
time.
Herkimer, and then got on 77, and then went to 380, and then
I got off the transfer tonight, like, I'll just shoot out the bullets. I got it, the first straight, I'm like, you know what, did I come out of the bullets?
So I appreciate it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a work hard. Oh!
Yeah, I'll send you.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how it's very helpful to do it to get on the thing, because that's the problem, that's the only way we can do this.
Anything gets technical, it's.
Exactly.
I got down
Good thing you
here,
know the back way.
I should've come this way off the 77, so